Hello, welcome to Tarzan Steak. For the first time in my lifetime, and I've been blessed with a reasonably long lifetime, May Day parade was not held anywhere in the world. The normal refrain of the solidarity hymn of workers, the workers united shall never be defeated, was not heard in Ghana or anywhere else in the world, not even in Red Square, Moscow. And there wasn't a particular fight between workers and their normal opponents, the bosses. This was a fight which actually inflicted and afflicted and affected both the workers and their bosses. The global pandemic of coronavirus has effectively not only killed thousands of people, especially in the so-called developed world, but has brought the world economic system to a screeching halt, with deep decline in the economies of both the rich and the very poor. It has affected businesses, both the owners and the workers, in a way that has been unprecedented in the whole wide world. Businesses have lost a lot of output, and workers are being laid off in thousands and thousands and thousands. In Ghana, the Trade Unions Congress and the organized labor has been crying about the economic effect of the pandemic. Employer associations of all sorts have also been decrying the economic effect of the pandemic. But the difference between the developed and the developing, especially our country, has been the way in which some formal assistance has been given to those who have contributed in their working lives to what they are presumed to be the establishment of a safety net and an insurance that will come to their aid on a rainy day such as this unprecedented pandemic. We've all been very worried about those who are in the most vulnerable classes. But the irony is that right as we are to be worried about those in the most vulnerable classes, they are those who work from day to day and for most instances do not contribute to what they would consider to be insurance and a security and a safety net for a rainy day such as this. But the devastating outcome of the whole thing is that those in the formal sector of work who contributed and have done for their whole working life to the National Social Security and National Insurance Trust have found themselves in a situation where their monthly contributions count for nothing at a time when they are most in dire need. For the scheme whose name gives the impression that it's going to look after those who contribute, in the time when they most need it turns out to be nothing more than a simple pension scheme for which contributors get absolutely no benefit until they have worked for a minimum of 30 years and are formally retired from employment. This is unacceptable. In other situations where people have contributed to the social security, their governments have guaranteed up to 100% of payment. They have also paid rents and other related expenses for at least a certain period. In Britain, a society that I was familiar with because I lived and worked there, the payment of your national insurance does not only guarantee you a state pension, it guarantees you an unemployment benefit should you be made unemployed. And if you are paying mortgages, which you're unable to do, if you're unemployed, for some period, it covers it. And the best of all, the venerable National Health Service, the payment of your national insurance guarantees that you get free care anytime that you need to. Compare that with the situation we've had here. For a system that is more than 30 years old, a system that was established before the onset of the Fourth Republic, a system that by its name you would have thought exists to provide a safety net and an insurance against situations such as the pandemic we have. When I came back to Ghana over 30 years ago, I investigated the SNIS scheme, and I found out that it was nothing more than a glorified pension scheme. And given the time that I returned to Ghana, there was no way I could contribute and wait for 30 years before I qualified for a pension. So I made my own arrangements. But unfortunately, many Ghanaians don't have the option. Both employers and workers are required to pay social security contributions by force. There is no allowance for voluntary contributions. And so at the time when a lot of employers are suffering because of the downturn in business, and many are keeping on their employees because of the act of loyalty and also a desire not to lose their best should businesses return, it has become extremely difficult for them to make ends meet, and there's no safety net from the Social Security and National Insurance Trust. This cannot be accepted, and this cannot be something for which we must subject to political football. It is something that the whole nation must come together on. The employers' organizations, the workers and trade unions, the civil societies, the think tanks, and everybody who's a Ghanaian, that we need to have a SNIT system that delivers the public good in times of affliction, such as we have. Last year, because of the banking crisis and reorganization, a lot of banking employees lost their jobs. Many are still waiting to get the settlement for the many years that they have worked and contributed to the SNIS scheme. And many, if they are not going to get a job until they attain 30 years of employment, might not be even qualified for a SNIT pension. There should have been, in the time that they were waiting for their settlement, unemployment benefits and benefits to cover the upkeep of their children. So the name SNIT is a big misnomer. It is a ruse calculated to give us a false sense of hope. That false sense of hope has been badly exposed by the coronavirus. And it is time we as a country took a hard look at SNIT, review the system as it should, make it deal with what its name implies, provide a social safety net for the workers of Ghana in a time of greatest need. That's what a scheme that you contribute to should look after you. It is a bad excuse for the managers of SNIT to fall back to the easy excuse of the law doesn't allow us to do this and that. Those who work for the SNIT, who consume over 30% of workers' contributions, ensure themselves a lifetime job and a lifetime to get the occupation pension that we who do not qualify for 30 years will not get. So it's incumbent on the whole nation to review the SNIT scheme, to rewrite the law, to make it do what it's supposed to do. We have now established a National Pensions Act, which in effect should address the issue of pensions at the end of your working life. And once we have a Pensions Act, SNIT should be revised, reviewed, rewritten to provide that safety net which ensures that workers in their working life, should they run into difficulties, should they become unemployed, should they become ill, should they have an accident, will know that there is a scheme that will provide and look after themselves for a little while they are impaired. That is one of the major things we should look at in the virus pandemic Ghana. And we look forward to how we should respond to the effects of this pandemic. I would argue that a fundamental rehashing of SNIT to make sure that it does what its name suggests is one of the things we should tackle first. What's in a name? The name must do what it is set out to represent. Thank you very much. This has been the first of Tarzan's blog, which will be a weekly output that will be found on a new medium for interaction and exchange of ideas called Yenkabi. You can join in the discussion and you can watch my weekly podcast. It's on www.yenkabi.com. It's a platform that offers opportunity for Ghanaians to think Ghana not in a narrow political sense. It is not intended to push ideas that provide private gain, but it's intended to push ideas that provide a public good for all of Ghana. You are welcome to contribute your ideas to Yenkabi. It will enrich all our intellect. It will enrich the drive that we are going to make towards making our country a better nation, great and strong.